Hello and welcome to the Lugo's Journey podcast. I'm incredibly excited to have you on today because my guest is a true entrepreneur. And by true entrepreneur, I mean after years and years of being successful, he still wants to do it and he still wants to achieve more success. I hope that you could use his life guidance and also just the amazing story that he has to help you on your hero's journey because I know that it's helped mine. One note that I wanted to add on this podcast, I brought on my friend Brian, who actually met our guest at New Trier, which is his high school. Brian actually met him, and they actually cultivated an amazing relationship, and I would not have him on today if it wasn't for Brian. So I hope you enjoy this podcast, and I hope you enjoy me and Brian giving him some amazing questions. Enjoy. From when you were younger, I know you went to Barcelona, and from even before that, right? Like, what was it that drive you to be an entrepreneur?
Oh, let me sit down in a comfortable chair. So genetically, there's two things, right? When you become an entrepreneur, you have examples. Like in my family, my grandfather started a business after the Spanish Civil War. Brian knows all about this. So when you have examples like that in your family that you look up to, that you actually respect, or that actually were successful, it's very easy to fall, love struck with that idea, or fall in love with the thought of entertaining it. But what drives me to become an entrepreneur is also not just the genetic makeup, is you play to your strengths. At the end of the day, you do what you're good at, and you're good at what you like. And if you don't like it and you're not good at it, you're but I was lucky also, and it went well. So that's the answer to your question, maybe.
Yeah. So when you were younger, did you actually strive to be an entrepreneur from when you were like 5 years old, or did it sort of come later?
No, honestly, I wanted to be a soccer player when I was 5. It's true.
It's a pretty good job too.
If you can make it and you stay healthy, I mean, there are guys that have to retire at 28, and
It's
they're
true.
when they've reached the top of the world. And Messi is at the top of the world in his specialty, and he's 33 and he still hasn't retired. So, no, when I was 5, I did not think of business. I did not think of Brian. Actually, I grew very, much to like him and his idea, because I saw that he had it early on. I saw that he was driven and wanted it, and he had the right makeup and the right thought process, and his brain was all about that. My ideas became later. I had a career like everybody else. I went to university. I studied economics, and one of my business class professors was my marketing professor. I think I may have talked about this at New Trier when Brian saw me speak first. My first mentor was my marketing teacher, and my marketing teacher, he said he saw I was a good student of marketing, and I got an A in his class. And one day after class, he comes up to me and he says, "Hey, Jordy, if you want to, this is in junior year, the year before I graduated." He says, "Next year, you won't have me as your professor, but after you graduate, come see me, because I want to place you at a job in one of my clients." So he actually put me under his wing, and I started to work as one of his clients after I graduated. So it was kind of like a win-win for me, not because I graduated his class with an A, but because at the end of the day, he helped me out also get my first job, and as a product marketing manager in a cosmetics company, which is what I did for the better part of a year after I graduated with my master's. So,
Wow.
I got a job at a cosmetics company, then I got a job at a flavor and fragrance company, and then I got into family business, and then I got the respect of other entrepreneurs in my family whom I had always respected. So what goes around comes around, I guess, right? And that's
Yeah.
how it happens in my world.
So what was it like actually having a mentor? And what was that sort of relationship like?
Ask Brian how it feels.
Honestly, the funny thing is that one of my professors here is a marketing professor, and he taught me all about like what kind of experience really matters. And so that's like what really inspired me to get into copywriting, which is what I'm currently working on. I know that it just like, it feels like you have secrets, like, to be honest, like that's really what it feels like. Because like when you're learning with a group in a class, like you feel like a sense of camaraderie with your classmates. But I get the sense that like when you get to talk to somebody one-on-one and you get to kind of have those little nuggets and insights of knowledge, like you really feel inspired and motivated to do stuff because you feel like you have an edge. And even if, you know, you might not have as big of an edge as you think, just having that kind of personal connection and having what like industry secrets, I guess, makes it inspires you to like work a lot harder, in my opinion. I think like that's the biggest thing, is to feel like you're supported and that you have somebody that you could go to if you have any questions. It like you feel like you have a direction. It just helps you with your direction in life, I think.
I agree, but I can also add, there's no substitute for experience. And what I love about teaching and what I love about talking to you young guys, or younger people than me that have less experience, is hopefully, and this is funny, and mentoring from the other side, but I'll tell you, I know that when I had a mentor, the most valuable thing that he could share with me was his experience. Okay, these little things that, and sometimes it's not that they fly over your head and that you can't hear them or understand them, is that we get, as humans, we get so caught up in the moment that unless somebody tells you, hey kid, write this down, you know, this you're going to use for the rest of your life. I may have heard things that I'm using today 20, 30, 40 different times. And until it happened to me and I needed to use it, I didn't realize that somebody had told me that before, you know?
Yeah.
So the experience that other people have, and this happens a lot with the teenage brain. I've studied the teenage brain. I have two teenagers. One is a senior at New Trier now, like Brian was when I met him. But so my son, my daughter who's 14, she's a freshman at New Trier. I tell them things and I'm like, don't listen to me because I'm your father. Don't listen to me because I've done it before. Listen to me because this is what will happen to you. Okay.
Yeah.
And that's it. I mean, there's a saying in Spanish that says the devil knows more because he is old than because he is the devil. Okay. And it's true. I don't know. Your last name is Lugo. I don't know if you're Portuguese, Brazilian, Spanish, or where you're
Puerto
from.
Rican.
Okay. Or where your ethnicity is from. It doesn't matter. But the saying is in Spanish, and you might find it, you might Google it. But, you know, the devil has been around as from the first creation of the universe. So if you think about it, you know, it's true. The experience, and you try to look for a job when you're 52, my case, right? I've applied for a general manager job recently because I was looking to buy a company. I wanted to keep my entrepreneurship thing going. But this acquisition of this company in Spain would have meant that I was going to be flying all over the world. You know, again, and COVID hits in March. I had acquired the funds to go buy a $60 million company. That's revenues. I was going to pay a lot more. The bank was going to help me pay a lot more than $60 million for it. But, and I was going to be the CEO, and as an entrepreneur, that's what you do. But, so all of a sudden COVID hits. We're stuck in March of 2020. And despite you may have gotten the funds, despite you may have the profile, despite you know the industry, you know how to make that company work better and longer, and you have a company that's willing to sell to you, all of a sudden COVID hits. What are you going to do? Okay, so I'm looking for a job. This buddy of mine wants to hire a general manager, kind of like a CEO, kind of like an assistant, you know, to the CEO. And I'm like, well, and they're like, no, we're looking for somebody younger. We're looking for somebody that has less experience. We're looking for somebody that can grow within the company, right? And I'm like, okay, that means you're overqualified. That was telling me either they don't want to pay my salary or they want to grow with another candidate, which is fine. And knowing what I know is they're going to let that person make mistakes. They're going to let that person grow within, and that's okay. But that's what typically ends up happening. So I respect experience a lot. And in other cultures, like especially in the Asian culture, I've read a lot about Southeast Asia, and Brian can tell you too. In the Latin cultures, we respect our elders a lot more. In other cultures, they want youth, and they want to learn. They want to teach people lessons by baptism under fire. Okay, and that's what mentors help to do, and that's why consultants are around, because consultants teach those lessons. So maybe I'm rambling now, but maybe that
It's interesting
about how it feels to be a mentor and how it feels to have a mentor.
So there are a lot of things that, when you were being mentored, when you were younger, you probably learned like a lot. What were some of like the main messages that you learned as a mentee, or what are the main messages that you teach as a mentor?
Oh, well, it's all over the internet also. I don't know what Instagram feeds you subscribe to, but I'll tell you, there's a couple of business ones, motivational, call them what you may. Hard work is key, showing up on time, things that will make you a good person, kindness, empathy. It's things that the soft, not the hard skills, the soft skills, that will give you an edge above other people. I mean, you can be the smartest guy in the room. If you're not willing to work hard, it's never going to happen. You might get lucky for a couple of years, but you have to. Resiliency is another good one that I remember and was in my Nutrier chat at the end of the day. You just have to. I've been in sales. All of us have something to sell, and in sales, and the video that I played to Brian and his colleagues that year at Nutrier when I was in his class, it's about resiliency. Really, it's about you knock on thousands of doors, and they're all closed, and they don't want to hear about you. Nobody has time for you. Everybody's on Zoom calls. We're all busy 24/7 now because you have access to people 24/7 on Sundays. And that's cool. But so whoever wants to say no will say no, and you got to move on and find the next one that will say yes. And sometimes it takes two doors, and on the second door you knock, it'll be open and wide open, and that's me for you. Or the first time you asked me, I said yes. But or sometimes you need to knock 1,024 times, and until it's not 1,025th time, but don't stop. Don't stop believing that you can actually do something because somebody tells you no.
You brought up a very important point. That's so interesting. So when you say sales, right, like not only are you selling products or things like that, you're also selling yourself. That's a huge part of it. You're selling the person that you are and the person that you want to be. And you're also selling yourself to other people. If you're selling yourself to a company, or also just trying to make friends. So what does it really mean to sell yourself and to sort of be like the person that is, sellable to other people?
Okay, well, Dale Carnegie said it the best, right? The lessons in salesmanship, and you guys studied that. Why are you laughing?
Oh, I'm on my fifth read through of the book. Okay. I'm trying to memorize every single chapter. And so the fact that you brought it, I mean, every single salesperson always goes, read this book first. And so yeah. I just thought it was super cool that you brought it up.
So what are you writing with?
What am I writing with?
What are you writing with?
Google Docs.
No. What are you writing with on a piece of paper? Are you taking notes?
I have to write with pen and paper. Okay, so one of the copywriting experts, I think Gary Halbert, always talks about how it's super important. Do you have it? How it's super important to copy things down by hand. I remember you told me too, because when I met you at Starbucks, you made me write things down on a napkin.
Okay. I didn't make you, but there's a pen. Okay, show me the pen. I can't see Brian, but I can see Lugo. Nicholas.
Oh, that's true. It doesn't.
Yeah, show me the pen. Okay. Brian, how much is that pen?
Probably 5 cents.
Okay. Nicholas, how much is that pen?
A pen? Yeah, I would say maybe 10 cents.
I know it's worth more. But
okay. So you want to sell it to me for a dime. He wants to sell it to me for a nickel, right?
Mm-hmm.
Why is it worth 10 cents to you and 5 cents to him?
Oh, because I can go to Staples and buy one for 5 cents.
Nicholas, if I can go to Staples and buy one for 5 cents, why would I buy it from you now for 10 cents?
Because I'm convenient. You have to go all the way to Staples to buy a pen. It's like, just pay me the extra 5 cents so I can give it to you now, of course.
Okay, you just sold me one attribute that is perceived value, which is if I, the buyer, perceive that you are adding value, it's perceived. If I'm willing to wait and Staples or Amazon can deliver it to my dorm room next door for the same price, am I gonna get up, go out of my dorm, get on my bike to Staples and buy it? Or am I just gonna wait here and save myself a nickel? Or am I in a hurry? Do you know if I'm in a hurry? Do you know if I want it now? If I need to write something down now because mine is dry?
True.
Okay. So this is the thing when you're selling yourself, what you have to sell is your approach to things. Is so a good salesman, and going back to the Dale Carnegie example or not this just bullshit, sell me your pen, is you can sell anything, a car. Okay. So when an old lady walks into a car dealership and they're looking at extended cab Series 7 BMWs. Old rich lady walks in there with a guy that's wearing white gloves and a hat. One of those cats with a visor. Looks like a chauffeur, right? Okay, you don't know. You didn't see them get out of the car. He was driving. She was being chauffeured. They're looking for a new limo for the little old rich lady. Who are you going to sell the car to, the chauffeur or the lady?
The lady.
Well, no, because he's going to be driving it maybe. And if he doesn't want to drive it, he's going to quit. So if you got to sell the car to both of them, you got to make a selling point for the chauffeur. Hey, look, it's really comfortable. It does everything by itself. Hey, it's like a Tesla. It drives itself. You can park it, no hands, blah, 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 blah. Little old lady wants to sit in the back, and maybe she's a boozer and she has a cooler, in there for her cold martini. Whatever she's drinking. So do you need extra leg room? Is she tall? Is she short? Is she cold? Is she warm? Does this car have cooled and heated back seats?
So you have to fit it to them, right?
You have every time. And so your sales approach might be like I just told you, all the details to analyze your client, or your approach might be, I'm going to be Brian Chung over there and sell you something for real cheap. I'm just going to sell volume. I'm just going to sell things for 2 cents and maybe lose money until I can break even and corner the whole market, because I'm the only guy that people give pens to sell, because they know I have access to everybody and everybody buys from me, and I'm a good distributor, and I'm going to start breaking prices. Go rock bottom. I am Walmart. I am Sam Walton, made a fortune selling cheap shit to everybody. Okay. He's one of the richest men in America. So who are you? Are you Sam Walton, or are you who started Whole Foods? I forgot his name, but so organic only, high-end prices. Who are you? What do you want? What's your approach? What's Brian's approach? We're all different people. You pick who you want to be. But does that address your question as to
No, I think it does. So it was funny because me and Brian were talking about the Dale Carnegie How to Win Friends and Influence People the other day. And one of the things that we were talking about is what I assume that you're talking about with Dale Carnegie is talk in terms of other people's interests, right?
Exactly.
And obviously people value things differently. Right. So for someone who doesn't have that much money, the chauffeur in your example, I also want to advertise the fact that it's low cost. Right. But for the rich old lady, I don't really care. I'm not going to bring up to her the fact, oh yeah, it's only X amount of dollars, because that's not something she values as highly. So I think it's incredibly valuable, especially when you're trying to sell yourself. You're really trying to think in terms of other people's interests. You're really not trying to think in terms of your own.
Right. Right. However, don't lose sight, and this as a person, okay? Don't try and make everybody else happy. That's another good one to remember.
Why exactly?
Because you're never going to make everybody happy. Okay. Don't lead your life. Play to your strengths. You're good at this. You're an introvert. Okay. You can still sell, but you got to be born to sell. Okay. That's fine. But if you don't want to be in sales, you don't have to be in sales to be a happy person. You don't have to sell yourself all the time to please everybody else, because not everybody's going to like dark-haired guys. You know,
Yeah.
there's going to be a chick out there that's going to like a blonde dude. And that's fine. You're not going to make her happy. And don't get disappointed because you can't make the chick happy that I mean, do you want to dye your hair? No. You're happy with who you are, be who you are. Stick to your, okay. Don't try and make everybody happy. Because you're not going to win by trying to make everybody happy all the time.
Yeah, so when you're actually in sales, do you sort of believe that, what you're really talking about right here is authenticity, right? You want to think in terms of other people's interests, but you also want to be authentic to yourself. And do you believe that people can kind of tell when you're being inauthentic and when you're sort of lying to them? And, if you're not being, if you're really focusing on other people, but you're not really focusing on yourself as much, do you think people can tell that?
And this is my opinion. I'm going to give you my vision of this now, okay? You could talk to people, I call them bullshitters, but some people have a very high bullshit radar. Some people don't care. They're buying encyclopedias from somebody that doesn't believe in encyclopedias. I don't care. Personally, my opinion is I've never been comfortable selling something I didn't believe in. I just cannot see the value in a drug deal. I don't believe in illegal substances. So because I don't believe in illegal substances, I do not want to profit from pushing something that will hurt other people. I don't know. I have a hard time. I have a friend who owns a liquor store. Okay. I have a lot of friends who have had to quit drinking over the years. It's poison. It's a lot of fun to drink. I personally have enjoyed it. Yesterday, I had a drink after dinner.
It's only for the people who can control it.
It also is a disease, right? So
Yeah.
So just having said that, and now that marijuana is becoming legal in many states, I have a friend who owns one of the biggest, what's it called? One of the biggest dispensaries here in close to our neighborhood.
Is it the one by Orchard?
Yep, I know who owns it. Yeah, wow. He's a good friend, and he's in the business, and that's what he's going to sell. Do I believe in it? I'm not going to invest with him. My buddy that owns the liquor store, have I bought from him? Yes, I bought liquor from XYZ who owns a liquor store. But I'm like, I would not get in the business of selling liquor. Okay. I can't. I don't want to. I don't. Okay. The other thing is I'm in a position I don't need to, right?
Yeah.
I can make money doing other things, or maybe I'm happy not making money and not doing that. But so that's personal. That's my choice. You can sell your soul to the devil and make a lot of money selling cocaine, but you better belong to a good gang because you're going to get shot. So well, I don't care. But that's my personal system of beliefs, and you each have your own.
I think you're speaking to a super important point just about the product that you choose to sell at the end of the day too. Because even if you're selling yourself, like, you need to believe in yourself. You need to do your best to make yourself the best product that you can offer. I mean, because like what I think about all the time is like people who are really good at selling but don't really have a product to sell, they become con artists. I mean, like I at one point was really invested in all kinds of like YouTube creators who would tell you all about you know, how to do this and how to do that. But at the end of the day, like all they have to sell is like knowledge that you can find online for free. Like there's no real substance there. And so I think like that's an issue that, you know, I have as well when it comes to like, I really like the idea of working for myself and selling my own products and stuff. But like, I think that I'm at a point where I still have like myself as a product, as an entrepreneur, like there's still enough to work on just making the product good enough where I don't need to worry so much about selling just yet. You know what I mean? Like we are young, and so like there's still so much more room to improve our product before we even go to market. And like that was one of the struggles that I had with my first venture into selling these disposable batteries that I bought from China for like, you know, 50 cents, was that like the product was pretty bad. And like it didn't feel great to push the product. And at the end of the day, like that's what like really hurt me, was not being able to be genuine about my product. And people can feel it, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like that kind of stuff weighs on your conscience for forever. And so I think like outside of being a good salesperson, in order to live a good life, I think you're absolutely right about needing to pick and choose and improve your product. Like that just really spoke to me.
And I personally think they go hand in hand, right? So if you're selling a product that you're passionate about, then it's going to give you sort of like a sense of meaning in your life. You feel like you're actually doing something that's important. And as a result, you're going to be a better salesman, right? Like
Absolutely.
yeah,
You got
exactly.
it.
Like I feel,
That's the message.
yeah, definitely, right? I feel like that's the key message here, because when you're talking about being authentic, it's more about what makes you a good salesman, and part of being a good salesman is just being an absolute, you know, a go-getter for your product. I absolutely love this product, and I want to share this with you. I want to share this product with you, whatever
Right.
it is.
And using your analogy, like a good product sells itself in the sense that if you like work out and you take care of yourself, then you don't need to go out and pitch yourself to girls. Like they will see it written on you that you're well dressed and that you take care of yourself and that you're healthy. So like that's definitely just like a true in everything in life, honestly. Like that's life advice.
Yes,
So too.
you're both correct.
So how do you personally go like yourself as a product? I know like education and all that, super important to always be improving. How do you improve yourself how do you improve you, the product? Like what have you done in your life and to always be improving and to always be upgrading?
Interesting. So I didn't believe in experience as much as I believed in youth in the past, right? I am young, I have talent, I have studies, I have built a foundation on which to build on, and I go out and I start facing the world at 28 in my jobs, and all of a sudden you realize that there's people out there like your mentors, but there's not that many of them. You think they're a minority, but if you look at demographics, there's a majority of people, right, that are over or that have lived more than you when you start out. So by the end of my 5 decades of being on this planet, you realize that a 28-year-old out of college, whatever, needs what that 50-year-old has. And vice versa. That 50-year-old needs what that 20-year-old has. He's had it, but you lose the youth and you gain the experience. So how do you improve? With experience, with learning consistently, improving on everyday observations, reading a lot, talking to a lot of people, just having conversations like these with friends over coffee. And especially I'm a huge believer in diversity, right? So don't talk to people that are like you. Talk to people that are 50. Talk to people that are 70. Talk to people, I mean, a 2-year-old won't teach. You know what, a 2-year-old, it's funny because they do teach me. My kids, I thought I knew everything until I had to bend over and change a diaper. It was my son. I did not change diapers for nieces. I did not change diapers for nephews. I wanted nothing to do with it. I have never learned more about myself than when I started, and as a manager, as a business person, as a team leader, than when I started having to field questions and manage a family or manage a little kid. Now I manage a 14-year-old daughter. This morning I had a discussion with my daughter. They're starting school. She's a freshman at New Trier. She doesn't know what she's getting into, but she does not want to listen to her father or her mother tell her, hey, I've been to high school before. This is what it's like. She's like, why are you talking to me about this? Well, because I've been there. Because I love you. Because I want what's best for you. And if you actually listen and you actually absorb this, you might learn it later on your own. But if you actually want to retain what I'm telling you, you will prove me right. It's like the old tale, and I think I may have used this metaphor too when I talk to you guys, is shit, making a kid taste something that, oh, I don't like spinach. Well, have you tried this spinach? It's not boiled, it's sauteed. It's not creamed, it's sauteed with olive oil and pine nuts. It tastes a lot different. It's got garlic in it. It's got this, it's got that. So have you tried garlic spinach with pine nuts and olive oil? Oh, I actually like it sauteed in a pan instead of creamed and boiled. Oh, okay, kid. Well, will you eat it now? You know, you don't have to ask the question. It's the answer is obvious. So you learn from everything and everybody, what you do, what you improve yourself. I can even tell you, go to a shrink, get psychoanalyzed. You know, you go through phases in your life. You might be depressed. You might be really happy and thinking you're the king of the world because you just sold a company and made $1 million that year. You know, you can hit the lottery and buy a Ferrari. Fine. But there will be moments when you will be depressed, and there will be moments when you need somebody else that tells you, hey, look, you know, that sees it from another perspective and tells you, why do you think you are depressed, and makes you think about these things. And it's not until you are depressed and you seek counsel, or you have a friend who's dealing with an addiction problem and you help them, that you see yourself in the mirror, really, and you learn more about yourself.
I think that's so interesting.
How to be better.
Yeah, you hit like so many points there. I want to like
you want to write them down. Get a pen.
I'll sell you this 10% son.
I'll take it for 5. How about that? No, but I think
it was
so. Yeah, no, I think it was so interesting. The thing that you talked about originally was, you said that listen to other people speaking and listen to other diversities of thoughts. So whether it be, you know, 50-year-olds, 20-year-olds, whatever. And I think one of the important points that you're talking about there is, when we're actually, like, as humans, for whatever reason, we're the only animals that can learn from other people, right? So if you told me, don't cross the street when a car's there, or look both ways when there's a car, then I'm actually going to do it, and I don't have to go through that struggle myself. Right? Like, I don't have to get hit by a car or get nearly hit by a car, right? Like, I can learn from other people. And I find it quite, you know, I'm going to say, I find it quite ignorant for people who don't want to learn from other people and don't want to, you know, get that experience, especially from books, right? Like, learning from books is somebody who spent their entire life and made all these mistakes. Maybe some have gotten hit by that metaphorical car, right? And made those failures. And they have condensed all this wonderful wisdom of their entire life. Usually these people are like 67 years old writing this book about their life. And you take it and you don't read it because, you know, you don't feel like you could apply it, when it's such valuable advice. So I think the fact that
reading the newspaper, I mean, knowing what's going on in the world, Trump, and I won't make a political statement, but has been accused of not reading. You know, I think reading is necessary. Reading about, not just because he has access to sources of information that nobody else in the world does, but just read, for God's sakes. Please know what you're talking about before you go out there, before you make an opinion, and get as much information as you can. In economics, and I don't know whether you guys study hardcore economics or just 101 these days, but at your business school. But in economics, there's Pareto's optimums are based on what? Perfect information, right? And if the customer and the curves of supply and demand are perfect, they meet in the middle. With perfect information, everything else remaining equal, the customer makes a rational decision. But of course, if you're skewed, it's the rational decision. The optimum is not achieved. So there you go.
Agree.
Just real quick, speaking on the topic of books, do you have any absolute must reads that like I'm sure there have been countless of books that have been super important, but you just
ready?
Okay.
Are you ready?
He's got the bookshelf.
Write these down.
Here. Back up. You ready?
Okay.
This is my library.
You've read every book in there.
I've read most books in here. That's my plasma. That's my plasma screen. This is the other half of the room.
More books.
Okay. So I don't know if I can flip my screen, but I'll tell you, I'm going to go through it while I'm here. This guy's good. So Malcolm Gladwell, all of them. So The Goal is a management novel, okay, by Elijah Goldratt. It's called The Goal.
It's called The Goal?
Yeah, by Elijah Goldratt. Goldratt.
Here, I got it on Amazon.
You got it? All right, that's one. Okay, I have it in Spanish right here. It's
La Meta.
La Meta, The Goal, okay? This is the second one, which is In Search of Excellence. Okay,
Oh,
have you read this one? Huh?
Search of it.
He says he's heard of
I've
it.
heard of that.
Yeah, well, Tom Peters. Okay, Tom Peters, In Search of Excellence. Anything Mr. Thomas Peters writes or wrote, and Google him. I think he was out of Chicago somewhere too. I'm just curious because I forget this stuff about these people, and they're really interesting people that I used to know more about.
And just super quick question also. How do you go about retaining this information after you read? Do you take notes? Do you reread it? Or do you just give it what's your strategy for retaining the information inside?
I keep them. You just saw me. I turned around, and the other side, my basement office, the other side of my office is not this window that you're seeing behind me. Is that library? I just go back and I pick it up, and I have markings, and I have notes. These are my notes. That's my handwriting inside the book at a certain page.
And do you go back to it as you conduct business deals and stuff to look back through your notes and stuff to look for advice?
No, sadly, when you're conducting business deals, it's all about the money and the time and how much time you can and what you can do with how quickly you can think on your feet sometimes. If you have time to ponder and on weekends, yeah, go back to the book by all means. But once you have a family and kids, I don't reread them enough, And the last one, the Kellogg professor, how to wash a chicken.
How to wash chicken. Interesting title.
And this is by his name is Tim Calkins. Yeah.
So you said before there was a book about how to train dogs, and it was actually about training dogs. So is this one about how to actually wash chicken?
No, but I'll let you read the annotated notes on Amazon, see what it says about it.
Very interesting.
And it's not. It's okay. So here, right here, it says mastering the business presentation. It's about communicating. It's about presenting. It's about selling. It's about business. It's about everything. It is awesome.
Wow. No, I do like that. Business presentation. We learn a little bit about that.
No. But I'm not talking about PowerPoint and crap like that. Okay. I'm talking about selling and presenting yourself and communicating your value adding value, believing in yourself, having good everything we've talked about.
Interesting.
Okay. All right.
That's pretty incredible.
Next.
No, thank you.
I gotta go pretty soon, boys. I got 10 more minutes. I gave you an hour.
No, well, thank you.
Yeah,
thank
that's
you.
what your time is super.
No,
valuable.
what
Thank
else do you
so
got?
much.
I got 10 more minutes.
Yeah. Okay. So, we're both interested in starting our own companies. He's publishing a book soon. What do you think what
You gotta
like
send me. You gotta
mistakes?
send me. I'll trade you. You gotta send me a signed copy.
Deal. I'll do it.
Please. Thank you.
You gotta. So what like mistakes and what experience do you have that you've gained that you could only gain from starting your own business? You know what I mean? Like what is it? What's in there that you think you've learned only because you started your own business?
That's a good question. I don't know what to answer because I'm trying to think of parallels to not having your own business and working for somebody else.
Because you've done both.
I'll tell you, I learned a lot more about myself and what I'm really good at. So I learned that if you're too invested personally in something, it's good to have distance between what your feelings and your business. So
Can you give me an example of that? Maybe with some
yeah,
fake
when I was,
names?
and this is exactly what I'm talking about. Signing an expense report for somebody when it's somebody else's money, it's very easy, right? I'll give you, how old are you guys? 20? Not even?
I'm gonna
19.
turn 20 soon.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah, well, you're not 21, so you're not adults. We can't go X-rated here. I was gonna go a little X-rated, but say for example, you're managing a sales team, and it's your company, right? And you have 12 people working for you. 4 of these guys are salespeople. They're out on the field. They're taking a client to dinner, and they come back the next day with an expense report that says we spent $500 on wine or liquor or drinks, right?
Mhm.
Last night, because we took a client to a convention, and the client, it's the only way to sell to him if we get him drunk. So it's $500 for a dinner for 3 people, 4 people, it doesn't matter. A lot of money. This is again, this is more than 10 years ago now. This is almost 20 years ago. That would be
it's a lot of
that would be $1,000 today, right? I'm just adding dimension to it. So you're like, okay, that's $1,000 less out of the bottom line. He hasn't bought anything yet. And it's the only way you could sell the product. As opposed to saying, I work for a Fortune 50 company. You have a budget of $10 million for travel and entertainment, and $500 to $1,000 of $10 million of entertainment and travel, and you're managing the same. I mean, you're trying to impact the bottom line, but you do 2 of those dinners every week. Where does it matter more? Does it matter more if it's your business? Does it matter more if it's a Fortune 50 company and you're the CEO or the general, right?
So are you assuming that the size of the company is the same, or is the only variable?
Whether the money comes out of your pocket or the funds are somebody else's money. OPM, other people's money. A lot of people, I'm not kidding. A lot of my most successful friends, and I'll tell you the example of one got to COO, Chief Operating Officer at Citibank in New York City. My buddy, he can't work for himself. He does not have the balls or the ability to detach himself from the fact that he's going to foot the bill. If it's his company. If it's somebody else's company, he doesn't give a shit. I'm sorry, I'm being very clear and blunt. Mm-hmm. But and you can apply this to the X-rated version. Think about how many times it happens in the world where somebody takes somebody to a bar and they're sponsoring entertainment. You know, it
Yeah.
happens in business. It happens in other countries more than in America, but it happens. And so are you able to stomach that? Or when it's not your money, do you care? So that's what I learned, that being myself, and I'm not telling you I'm a saint. I'm, preaching to the choir here maybe, but it's different when it's your money than when it's other people's money. Very
Do you
different.
also, yeah, do you also find that it's a lot more difficult to be a self-starter than to have the external incentive of, like a boss or things of that sort?
Showing up and having somebody that you're accountable to, whether it's your wife, it's your family. Some people are accountant only to their bank accounts. Are accountable only to their own bank accounts. And we can talk about greed. We can talk about many things, but always you have to have something that drives you aside from, yes, just because it's a job and I'm going to do it and I'm good at it or I'm bad at it.
I agree. Brian, do you have a question?
I'm just thinking, like, when he was talking about the idea of, like, because I understand the basics of business expense and sales, and you gotta take people out. Like, it kind of made me sick to my stomach imagining going out and having to spend $500, $1,000 on a client who may or may not even purchase from you. And just because I think, like, there are certain values that are instilled in you since you're very young. Like, personally in 2008, like, my family was super broke. So, like, then that's kind of like my adolescence, right? And so, like, I kind of never was like, I can understand why you're feeling, like, because, like, you have to do it. If you want to land those big ticket clients,
It's like an investment.
It's just like a part of it. And sometimes the investments fall through, but I can imagine why, like, especially.
Well, you guys should know the difference. Let me cut you short here. This is worth more, but an investment or an expense, right? What's the difference between an investment and an expense?
One will get you something in the back end.
No, but you're sure. You have return on investment measures that actually, hey, that's what happens. I'm sorry, I was getting a call. I don't know if you guys saw me. I had to decline a phone call that's coming in, but
That's all right.
all right, I'll get on it. So travel and sales are expenses. They're not investments. You might or may not get a return, but in the books, in accounting, they will teach you that that's not accountable as an investment. Okay?
Yeah.
You can perceive it, you can think about it, but as an investment, but nobody in accounting will let you account for that as an investment. You can perceive it as a sunk cost. So I have a membership at a golf club. It costs you tens of thousands of dollars to join the golf club. You're never going to get that money back. It's a sunk cost. Hell, you get to play golf later and you pay per round, or you pay the caddies, or you pay for golf balls. You pay fine, but that you're never going to see it again. So whether you get business out of it or not, there's a huge question mark about it. An investment is a machine. Is Brian's 200 battery packs? That was an investment that he hopes to make a return on, and that you can account for as a loss if you do not make a return on it. That's why they teach accounting in business school too. But think about the principles that go behind the term investment and expense. So sales is a sunk cost. It's always an expense. Keep that very clear in your mind.
Yeah. So it's an expense. Okay, that makes sense. It's an expense because it's not directly making you money. Like every time, right? Investment, like a machine, is working for you and making you money, but an airline ticket is not directly doing anything for you.
Right.
Interesting.
We have 4 minutes left, probably. Do you want to just wrap everything up? You gave us a lot of insight and wisdom today. You want to just kind of boil it down to maybe 3 things we should remember to keep in our head?
That's an interesting question.
Me? 3 things?
Yeah. For us to just keep in our head and remember and kind of, I know it's a lot to ask, but
use your network. Okay. Learn too. So learn, read, interact, open your ears, close your mouth as much as you can. Or
I
they
love
let
what you
you?
said about talking to old people. Like, I love doing that, so I'll continue.
Or learn, watch a babysitter take care of a kid, and watch another babysitter in the park take care of another kid, and you'll learn the differences. Watch people walking their dogs. And 3, be resilient. So learn, be resilient, and diverse. Diverse is key. So everything and anything, there's a lesson in how the plants grow. I know you might not be into biology. I know you might not be into sports. I just like observing the world around me. I don't know. It's heck, it's led me to have people respect me more and know yourself. Sorry, the 4th one is also know what you're about and know yourself and stay true.
Yeah.
Learn, be resilient, diversify your interests, everything, and know yourself.
I also think an underlying message you got there is be curious, right? Like,
Oh, yes.
yeah, like really care about it. Like, by knowing yourself, like care about yourself, understand yourself. But also when you're trying to be diverse and you're also trying to learn more, right, which was one of your messages, you need to just be curious about, all the daily things that happen in this life. And there's so much value that you can learn from literally everything that exists around us.
Yep.
I think that's awesome. Thank you so much for doing
Thank you
this.
so much.
This is really incredible. Thank you so much.
All right. Good luck, guys. Take care. Good to see you.
Take care.
Thank you.
Bye now.